Ladies and gentlemen, we want you to stand and we want you to make some noise.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go racing here at Knoxville.
Only the best go three abreast. It is show time at Williams Grove Speedway.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here at Eldora Speedway, it's showtime!
You got 'em for a breath. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the world of outlaws.
It's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy because, ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime!
Set to do battle for 30 laps. The green flag is waving.
All right, I'm just warning you now, if you're on heart medicine or you have stress or you have some kind of an issue like that, you better make sure you're all stocked up on the pills or the whatever the chemicals, the plants, whatever you need to settle yourself down.
Plants.
Or the cans or the bottles. Okay, whatever you need to settle yourself down because it's National Open Weekend, Outlaws versus the Posse, all the marbles, $65,000, and there's going to be a whole bunch of people happy and there's going to be a whole bunch of people pissed off when this one is over.
Yeah.
And in between, if you're on social media, you're going to be slinging your phone. You're going to be cussing out the posse. You're going to be cussing out the anti-posse. It's the most wonderful time in the year for sprint car rivalry.
It is. And then there's people like us who like whoever and just get to sit back and really enjoy an awesome race.
Yes, and watch this thing. We're already, this thing is airing on Thursday. We're already 4 days into camping for some people. So they've been up and down. They've been all over that roller coaster.
They got the plants and the bottles and the cans.
Yes, exactly. And the plants and the bottles and cans, everything. Yeah. Nor do we endorse any of that activity, but but I mean, it's just, what a weekend we have ahead of us.
I always love the National Open. I think it's the time of year. It's chilly. You know, the season's winding down, the competition. It's always been one of my favorites.
It really is. And this year, oh my God, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I mean, because it's just, I have no clue what's going to happen here. Because you can make an argument for all three sides. And yes, I said three sides.
Yeah.
So
there's the Reitzels and the Browns.
Exactly. So it's cool. We'll talk a lot about that. We're also going to talk another big one and this is the Short Track Nationals, 32nd Annual Comp Cam Short Track Nationals, Little Rock, I-30 Speedway. That's one of the raciest joints on the planet. Oh, my gosh. Last year they had 74 360 cars at that. So we're going to talk to Ben Shelton. He's with MSR Mafia. We're going to talk. We all know that a lot of eyes are going to be focused on Williams Grove, but we also need to keep an eye on what's going on in Little Rock. So we're going to talk to Ben Shelton about what's going on with the Short Track Nationals. So that's going to be a big event as well. One of the great historic races. 2 of them in one weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I say about heart medicine and all that other stuff. Better be all ready to go with whatever you need to settle yourself down, because there's a lot to get unsettled about this weekend. So great stuff. So we're going to talk to Ben. We're going to do that in just a little bit. Of course, that's one of the big 360 shows. The 360s were in action last weekend at Silver Dollar Speedway in California. It was the 27th Annual Fall Nationals. 51 sprint cars showed up at this one. Friday night, Justin Cox and Shane Golobic going at it. Troy Hennig had the call. He's the track announcer out there. Speed Shift TV with it. It's our Dryden Diesel all-death-defying move of the week.
And now for the Dryden death-defying move of the week, where one driver simply amazes us with their on-track moves.
Golobic committed to the bottom. Justin Cox around the outside. He'll get the win opening night on the final lap, final turn.
That death-defying move was brought to you by Dryden Diesel All Death, the official DEF of the World of Outlaws and wheelmen everywhere. Visit Dryden.com for more information.
Looking for custom racewear and embroidery? Do you want your race fans to represent your race team with trendy original apparel? Contact Classic Ink USA, the new standard in custom screen printing and embroidery. Located in Greater Pittsburgh, Classic Ink USA's professional staff utilizes state-of-the-art facilities to transform your ideas into an attractive wearable piece. From custom track swag racewear to trendy quick crew wear, Classic Ink handles it all. Find out how you can get started. Contact Classic Ink USA screen printing and embroidery at the track and on your back.
Instilled with Dryden's heritage of performance, Dryden Diesel All Def is built for the demands of today's diesel engines. Dryden Diesel All Def is perfect for owners and operators of on-road and off-road diesel trucks and cars that now require diesel exhaust fluid. Dryden, official motor oil and official diesel exhaust fluid of the World of Outlaws and wheelmen everywhere. And as always, American owned and operated. Visit Dryden.com for more information.
Are you a serious diecast collector? Do you have a favorite driver? Are you looking for a gift for a race fan? No matter what the question, the answer is always PlanBSales.com. Plan B has all the latest in diecast from Lionel and apparel, artwork, and other items for your favorite driver in NASCAR or other forms of racing. Go to PlanBSales.com. Key your driver's name in the search window and look at all the options. Your one stop for diecast and other motorsports collectibles is PlanBSales.com.
Sage Fruit is a high-quality grower, packer, and shipper of Washington State apples, pears, and cherries. Sage Fruit believes in sprint car racing as a proud sponsor of sprint cars for the past 16 years and a partner of Wing Nation for the past 4 years. We love sprint car racing, and we're there for our sprint car fans. Sage Fruit works hard to deliver an exceptional eating experience. We value our relationship with sprint car fans and appreciate your continued support of Sage Fruit. Ask for Sage Fruit at your local grocer.
This is the Wing Nation Podcast. Back to Steve Post and Erin Evernham.
Thanks for joining us. It is Wing Nation here on wingnation.com and all of our social channels. So glad you joined us. Erin Evernham and Steve Post here. And a lot of big races this weekend. And when it comes to 360 racing, none larger than the 32nd annual Comp Cam Short Track Nationals at the historic I-30 Speedway, that racy little joint in Little Rock. And joining us from MSR Mafia, Ben Shelton's on the line. Hello, Ben. Welcome into Wing Nation.
Hey, guys. Really appreciate you having me this morning.
Oh, man, it's good to talk to you. Good to catch up with you. For those who may not be familiar or have lost touch or living somewhere under a rock, the Short Track Nationals, just tell us about this event that you have this weekend.
Well, I mean, the event's got a ton of history. This is our 32nd year for it. And, of course, it started out as a 410 event like a lot of big events did back in the day. And as time went along, racing in the Mid-South area, the Memphis, Little Rock area, more toward 360s. And, of course, at that time, Devil's Bowl was running weekly 360s and became a 360 event, a few years into it. And, it's really a cool event. I mean, like a lot of events, it's gone through a lot of changes over the years as far as what works and what doesn't. And we've had everything from a 4-day racing format to what we have now, where we have a practice night and 2 race nights. And, last year we went to that to kind of try it different because this time of year between high school football, college football, so many things going on. You got fairs and stuff. It's a little bit harder to get the fans in. So last year we went to a practice night with 2 days and had, honestly, probably our most successful event in the history of it from both a fan count and just an over profitability. And so that gets us very excited for this year, especially with us having what we don't always have, and that's amazing weather heading into this weekend's event.
There you go.
Oh, that's great. When you look at the list of winners, Ben, it's pretty impressive. Sammy Swindell's won 5, Gary Wright, Steve Kinzer, Paul McMahon, Christopher Bell. The list goes on and on. But talk about, I'm a former racer. This one was always a special event marked off. Like it's bragging rights to win this race, isn't it?
Well, it's major bragging rights, and you never know who's going to drop in on it. Of course, when this race first started going for the longest, it was the very end of October, and we even had it at the beginning of November. But with the World Finals beginning in November, that's no longer an option. And end of October, we had some other races come along that kind of forced us to go earlier than we have in the past, and that's why it's the beginning of October. So we're kind of at the mercy of some of these other series wrapping up still racing. So you don't know who's going to drop in. But, just the bragging rights from this area, when you start talking about, guys like Tim Crawley and Sam Haferteef Jr. and the Howard family. And, last year, Blake Hahn, that was really his coming out of party of sorts. I mean, that really set him to a big end of the 2018 season. And in 2019, he's obviously having a huge year. So, yeah, it's a lot of bragging rights. Obviously, when you think about the World of Outlaws and All-Star Sprints, you think about them going into Pennsylvania, and you're like, man, going against the Pennsylvania posse, that is no easy task. Well, if you're a 360 racer and you're going to come into this I-30, I-40 corridor between Memphis and Little Rock, when you come in, there's about a dozen guys, as I mentioned, like the Howards, the Crawleys, Derek Hagar, Marshall Skinner. There's guys that can keep this money at home. So there's a lot of pride, not only for the local guys to try and win, but also for these invaders to come in and beat these perennial favorites.
Yeah, when you're talking names, Haggard, Crawley, you're right, Moore, Skinner. It's amazing. One of the other things, and this is a bucket list race because it's a bucket list track, and we're chatting with Ben Shelton from MSR Mafia about the Short Track Nationals. Man, this little racetrack, they can't get away from each other. They're going to have to race each other on this little joint.
Yeah, I'll often joke that if you're not good in lap traffic, you better hope there's a caution every 2 laps because that's about how quick you're going to catch the tail of the field. Growing up in this area, I grew up at the ditch in West Memphis and I-30, and I grew up on these bull rings. And, man, I love these little bull rings. And don't get me wrong, I love the Eldoras and the Knoxvilles and the I-80s of the world. But, man, you just cannot beat 20 sprint cars thrown into a bull ring, and it's Slide Job City, it's high banked, it's a lot of action. And no, you cannot get away from somebody. You've got a good car, you can drive away from them in clear traffic, but you're pretty soon going to be mired in 2 and 3 wide lap traffic, and that's when the drivers shine. I mean, it's really something special. This is a very special event for me for a lot of reasons, but it's one of those deals where there's a happening that happens to have a race at it, and we're lucky that just about every year we have an amazing race to go along with this awesome party that we have in Central Arkansas, and it kind of signifies the end of the racing season around here and the onset of fall, and everybody's starting to look ahead. So yeah, it's just there's so many things that come together to make this a special event.
Man, when you talk about things going on outside of the track and a good race just happens to break out, are there events planned? Is there camping? Is there a lot going on for fans if they chose to go out this weekend?
Well, it's a really unique facility because it's right on Interstate 30 where, I don't have an exact number, but I'll just throw out there. It feels like 1 million cars a day are buzzing by in front of the racetrack, and the racetrack is right on top of it. The parking lot's right on top of it. So there's campers. We've got campers in the pits. We've got campers in the parking lots. You got campers everywhere. There's people just nonstop tailgating, and as you walk around, everybody's wanting you to come by and try their ribs or try their homemade chili. I mean, so that's a really cool thing. And then we have you can't script this either, straight out of like the Dingus being across the street from Knoxville. We actually have a bar and restaurant in the parking lot of the racetrack. And so it's open after the races. I mean, it's something like out of a Kenny Rogers six-pack movie where all the racers and the crews are in there, and they're kicking back a few drinks after the races. And, there's the classic bar food. There's some karaoke going on. At some point, Tim Crawley's going to get just enough liquid courage in him. He's going to be up there singing Simple Man on the stage by Leonard Skinner. And it's kind of got that, not taking away from races nowadays, but it's kind of got that 1980s feel to it when you go to a race, and it was as much about the experience of being there. What's cool on Saturday, we don't hot lap till like 6:30 on Saturday. By 3 o'clock, the parking lot is about full, and people are parking up and down the road, and there's just tailgates, and there's all ages out there, and there's kids throwing the football, and it's just got that feeling of kind of like coming home, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tearing up here thinking about this, that I'm not going to be there now. You're hacking me off on this because you had me at ribs, and then you went with chili, and then you went with a bar with karaoke, bar food and karaoke in the parking lot. Now I'm really upset. I really am. I am telling you, this just sounds like an absolute blast. A great event with a great racing. The schedule here, Thursday night, test and tune. And what's the plan Friday and Saturday on this, Ben?
So what we've shifted around, this race is paid as much as $25,000 to win for a 3-day show, and a 4-day show we do preliminary events, where guys would lock in. And last year we thought, you know what? Racers want to race for a check every night. Fans want to see a complete show. And really, with where we're at now, this event over the years, and we didn't have anything against us, we've drawn as many as 127 cars. Last year we had 66. I expect we're going to have about that same amount this year. As of today, we have, I think, 56 cars entered. And there'll be another dozen or more that just show up and pay entry at the gate. So we run a complete 2,500 to win, 25-lap race on Friday night, pays $250 to start. And then we come back on Saturday, and it's another independent show in honor of Jason Johnson. Jason loved I-30 Speedway. He was a former winner of this event. His family loves I-30. They were there last year. We do a 41-lap feature. It pays $10,041 to win, which, again, in 360 racing is one hell of a winner's check. And then it pays $800 to start. And there's not many one-day 360 shows out there that have that kind of purse. We have Dash for Cash, where the top guys in the passing points go up there. That deal pays $500. So if you come out there, our Saturday heat race winners also, this is something old school. We pay $100 cash to the guys that win the heat, and that's kind of a lost art. The heat race winners getting a cash prize. If you come out here and sweep this deal, you're up over $13,000 on the weekend from a racer standpoint. If you proverbial step on it on Friday night, you can start over on Saturday with a clean slate. And then the fans, you get a complete show each night. and you're going to get your money's worth when you come to Hammer Hill this weekend. That's the big thing. I don't care if you're a fan, a driver, a crew member. You're going to come. You're going to get your money's worth. You're going to have a chance to leave with money if you're a racer, and you're going to have a good time.
Oh, my gosh. This does sound fantastic. Oh, heart be still. Ben, I'm telling you, we appreciate you sharing the gospel, and it was on the bucket list, and it's moved further up the bucket list after talking to you here. I've got to get these NASCAR folks to cooperate with the schedule here one of these years so I can get out there, but we do appreciate it. We love a good weather forecast.
Yes.
We love that, and we wish you guys the best this weekend with the 32nd Annual CompCam Short Track Nationals.
Well, we really appreciate it. We've got the best weather we've had in a while. It's been brutally hot over here for the past few weeks. They're calling for a high of 80 on Friday, so everybody's packing their jackets. We don't know what to do with 80 degrees. We're really excited. And I just encourage anybody that's interested, check out I-30Speedway.com. It's got all the details on this weekend's event.
It really does. Thanks for the time, Ben.
Yes, sir. You guys have a great one.
There we go. Holy cow. I mean, I knew it was. I see the results and their website, I-30 Speedway. It's great. It's great. I saw the results, and I knew. And my buddy Trailer had told me it was quite the party, but I guess I didn't. And I think I knew there was a bar room in the parking lot. I think I knew that too.
But you didn't know about the ribs and the chili and the.
Yeah, you put that all together, and it's like, what in the wide world of sports have I been doing? And race fans, now I'm tied up with my stuff. But my question is, for those of you in the Mid-South, what in the wide world of sports are you doing this weekend?
And I've got to say that if I had something to sell, I might hire Ben. I mean, that was some good sales pitch right there.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy. I know. I've chatted with him a few
built that up.
times.
I mean, it's worth every bit of it. But
he's a great guy. He really is. I mean, it's awesome. Well, I said he had me at ribs. No, he had me when he said Marshall Skinner. I love Marshall Skinner. I met Marshall Skinner at PRI. We might have been sampling some frosty beverages afterward. And I was with Terry Gray and Morgan and that crew. And then we ended up running, which was kind of a Memphis crew.
Yep.
And we ended up, Derek Hagar was there. And I got chatting with Marshall Skinner.
Yeah,
Man,
he's good people.
We've been
friends on Facebook for years.
Isn't he the best?
Yeah.
He's just the best. And boy, he can wheel a car too.
Oh, he sure can.
Oh, yeah. He's one of those guys you roll into that Mid-South area, you're going to have to wrestle with him. Oh, my gosh. Are you kidding me? I mean... We just need to figure out, we first off have to work with the calendar people to get 100 weekends a year.
Yeah, that would be
nice. And then we
nice.
got to get all these series and people together to get along so that I can get to all of these races because it's just...
You just need that plane again, that private plane.
I know, exactly. That's what it is. And
we need the MRN jet.
Unfortunately, it's going to take a lottery ticket now because my private plane days have gone. He just wants, like me, my private plane was Tony Stewart. He just wants to go sprint car racing too. He doesn't come to the NASCAR races to pick us up until Sunday.
The nerve of him.
Oh, gosh,
I mean, Tony, come on now.
I mean, I could fly to Little Rock and get in. I could be into some ribs 10 minutes onto the property. Oh, you kidding me? Man, that's fantastic. So it is the 32nd Annual CompCam Short Track Nationals, I-30 Speedway. Thursday, test and tune. Friday, prelim night. Saturday, $10,041 to win. And this is a who's who of winners, including Blake Hahn, who is the defending champ of this race. When we look at the National Open, I'm telling you, it is 40 laps. It's $65,000 to win at Williams Grove. This thing, the first year, 1963, it was a 100-lap race. Gordon Johncock, that guy, that Gordon Johncock, showed up from Michigan, and he had some kind of contraption on his roof that looked like a wing because it was a non-wing.
Yeah.
That was when the wings were first, and he came in and he wore them out. Last year, breaking news, Lance Deweese won it, his fourth win in the race. Listen to this, though. Lou Blaney, Kenny Weld, Steve Smith, Kramer Williamson, Van May, Smokey Snellbaker, Lynn Paxton, Doug Wolfgang, Kenny Jacobs, Stevie Smith, Steve Kinzer, Don Kreitz Jr., Billy Pouch, Mark Kinzer, Sammy Swindell, Donnie Schatz, Doug Ash, the Hammer. Oh, another guy I love. Greg Hodnett, Jason Myers, Fred Raymer, Danny Dietrich, David Gravel. Now, I'm telling you what, that is a list of winners.
That is a stout list.
That is a stout list of winners. Holy cow. And we may add a new name to that.
Yeah.
Because this thing is unreal. World of Outlaws, I think the World of Outlaws have been as good this year relative to the rest of the parts of the country.
Yeah.
I think they've been stronger than we've seen, including Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
They've been really, really good. So you come in here with Sweet and with Shots and with Schuhart, and with Gravel, who is just so freaking good at this racetrack. Darren Pittman, who spent a couple years racing there for Mike Hefner. You get that, then I mean, the rest of the Outlaw guys. Then you've got Deweese and Dietrich and Freddie, and Monteith is rolling.
Yep.
I am telling you, Brian Monteith could come out of there with his first World of Outlaw win and a National Open win.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't even bat it. Now, they would tear the joint down because he's sponsored by Beer Hill. I mean, I don't even know what would happen. But from a racing perspective, it wouldn't even shock you if Monteith won that race. I mean, and that's just what we had Brian on last week, and he is on a roll right now. He's picked up steam and momentum. And then you throw Reitzel in the middle of this thing.
Yep.
Who just won the last 2 All-Star races there. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Dervision's got it all. If you're sitting in the Northeast and you're not working or something else, why you wouldn't be there is beyond me. Now, I don't even, if you're Midwest and you're not at I-30 Speedway, I'm questioning you.
Yes.
And if you're in the Northeast and you're not at Williams Grove, I'm questioning you too.
Really questioning.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's like, what, have you lost your mind? What could possibly be better than this? I don't know. I don't think there's an answer to that. Okay. If you're on the West Coast, you've got the King of the West NARC Series. They've only got 3 races left. They're at Kern County and Bakersfield. This is unreal. 5 drivers are knotted up in a championship battle where there's only a few points between them. You got DJ Netto, Bud Kading, Dominic Selzy, Willie Croft, and rookie Ryan Burnell. I mean, it's just the 3 races left. The third from the end is at Kern County, and they're giving away bacon. They give away bacon at their races. MOA Sprints, their season finales at Jacksonville, Illinois, Friday and Saturday night. ASCS Regional Racing is Southwest Regions at Queen Creek. That's easy for me to say. Arizona Speedway. Warrior Region is at Lake Ozark Speedway in Eldon, Missouri. The National Tour is off, but Erin, the National Tour is back in action for the Fall Fling next week at Sapulpa at Creek County Speedway. Atomic Speedway has their Freedom 40 for the fast sprints on Saturday night. So there's other racing to get out to. The clock is ticking here. The calendar, we've rolled onto another page of the calendar, folks. You better get to these sprint car races now. We turn the calendar over one more time, and it's a handful of races. And once we get done with that, well, it is the countdown until the icebreaker at Lincoln. They've already started that. Yeah, February 22nd, the icebreaker at Lincoln. The countdown has begun till that. But that's a couple turns of the calendar before you get to that.
144 days or 143 now.
Oh, it's those people. Oh, my gosh. I love those people to death because they're crazy. So coming up, our HRP Racing Products upcoming calendar. Of course, our friends at hrpracingproducts.com, hrpracing.com. They have the Shark Wing for you race teams. And, man, that thing, that's a slick wing. And I know the 358s in Pennsylvania are going through some wing changes. So guys up there in Pennsylvania, you might want to check out Hefner Racing Products. You're going to do a new wing. It might be new for you, but it's not new to them. And they can really help you with that. But so they've got that. You can catch them at hrpracing.com. Coming up Saturday on Wing Nation by Sage Fruit on MAV TV, Erin Reitzel. Speaking of Reitzel, he's going to join us. We're on at 7:30 and 10:30 in the morning.
All-Star champion.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, we appreciate Ben Shelton for joining us. Get out to one of these races this weekend, folks. But more important than all of that, thank you for joining us here this week on Wing Nation.
This has been the Wing Nation Podcast. Find Wing Nation on wingnation.com, Facebook, YouTube, or your favorite podcast provider. The Wing Nation Podcast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.